So you don't get too tournament.
Right.
Please, come.
Well. Hi.
Hello.
How are you guys doing this evening?
We're doing good.
Good, good. So my name is Anthony Hudson. My friends call me Tony. You're welcome to call me Tony. Does anybody know what Tony is backwards? Why not?
Of course.
Why not? People ask me all the time, why are you running for governor? It's a simple question. Why not? I feel like our legislators and our governors in the past have failed us as a people. They failed our state, and I feel like they're not representing us as a society. Our education is 45th in the country. It was 17th when Whitmer took office. There are two states behind us, Oklahoma being one of them. They just were ranked 50th in the country. Education's a problem, taxes are a problem. We have so many pet projects that our money is going to that I'm sure most of you didn't even approve. But we have to pay these taxes, right? Wrong. We don't. How many homeowners do we have in here? Okay, put your hands down. None of you are homeowners. You said you are not in favor of axing your tax, and I am running on eliminating property taxes because there's a reason for it. Why do you, can I just ask you why you like to pay your property taxes?
That's not the way to put it, and you're gonna put it on the ballot saying, do you wanna not pay property taxes? And everybody's gonna say, yeah. But how do you replace this money, like our millages that everyone voted, that we pay for these things, like our fire, and how do we pay for our fire and police? I work for Chocolate Town, I'm on the planning commission in Chocolate Township. I go to all the meetings. 97% of our budget is from property taxes. We cannot even fund our police and fire with the, constitutional revenue sharing that we get from the state. So, and, other states, like I think Florida's trying to get rid of its.
Ohio, Texas,
Okay.
Tennessee.
I know Florida has fees. I go to Florida reasonable amount of time, and there's a ton of fees imposed on top of, the tourists get soaked when they go there.
Right.
And so they have these other streams of revenue, and places like, is it South Dakota that doesn't have taxes now?
What kind of taxes?
Property taxes.
Property taxes exist in all 50 states still to this day.
Okay. Well,
They may have recently got rid of their state income tax, but their property taxes are still in every state for now.
okay.
There's about a dozen states that are talking with legislation to eliminate property taxes. And when I heard you say that, I was like, I'm going to change up my entire speech for a moment. I'm going to bring this front and center, first and foremost. So if I said to you, whatever's written today was unwritten yesterday, would you agree with that comment?
Sure.
This brave man right here, Abraham Lincoln, I'm going to tell you a story about Abraham Lincoln to prove my point. I'm not picking on you, I just tell you where I'm coming from. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln went to Congress and said, fellas, I need another way to fund the war. I need you to come up with a way so we can take care of our troops, our munitions, food, travel, be creative. So Congress went down to their local Starbucks, they had a couple donuts and some coffee, and they came up with an idea, and they all liked it. And they voted on it, and they passed it. And they presented it to Mr. Lincoln's desk. In 1861, Abraham Lincoln signed that bill, and it became the Revenue Act of 1861. In 1952, the Revenue Act of 1861 became the IRS. So before it was written, the Bill of 1861, they did not tax the people of the United States to pay for governmental debts or wars.
How did they pay for the Civil War?
Well, during the Civil War time, they created the Revenue Act, which taxed the people. They made the people pay for it. But prior to that, it was the tariffs from other countries that were paying to bring their goods to the United States that paid for our government, back when government was yay big. So there was all this money that came in, and the government started growing. We started seeing new and more departments within government. We didn't have a CIA or an FBI. We didn't have a Homeland Security. We didn't have a Department of Education. Those things all came about with the money that they were bringing in from charging the people. Government grew. With growth comes power, greed, corruption, treason, all of these things. And we're the victims of that. We're the ones that have to pay for it. So I tell people, we all know the story of Lake and Riley, right? The young woman down in Georgia that was raped and murdered on a jogging trail. Anyone in this room that paid federal income taxes, you contributed to that. Because our tax dollars were going to the illegals that were coming into this country. We were paying them. We were bringing them here, giving them incentives to cross the border and come into this country. And when those acts are committed, it's our fault. Because we allowed it to happen. So what I'm trying to get back to is the time where certain things were unwritten. Property taxes didn't exist before 1932. And now they are, because it's one more way that the government can tax the people. Just like your license plates. Every year you get a bill on your birthday for your license plate, correct? It was early 1950s that the state of Michigan started charging for an annual registration on your vehicle. Before then, you bought it once, it stayed with your vehicle. Agricultural vehicles, they pay one time. Trailers, pay one time. Semi-truck trailers, one time. Why are we continuing to pay for these bloated departments within our government? That's my question. I have an answer for your property taxes. You have to think outside the box, because what's written today was unwritten yesterday. If we're bold enough to think outside of status quo, we can come up with other ideas for the tax code. So I'm going to move to the middle of the room for a moment, and I'm going to divide the room. You, sir, right down here, you in the yellow, you're on this side. Everybody else, you're on that side. You guys represent homeowners. You guys represent renters. You should be thanking all of us for paying for your essential services, because that's what our property taxes go for.
But
Renters,
they're paying us to
renters pay higher rent to a landlord, and the landlords are making a lot of money off of it. Not just to cover their property taxes, it's revenue for them. So if you get rid of the property tax and you reinstate something different, we can change the mold. I propose getting rid of the property taxes and the state income tax. The state income tax is 4.25%. Is 3% less than 4.25%? You just were in high school. Is 3 less than 4.25?
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right?
Yeah.
What about you? Is 3 less than 4.25?
Yeah.
By 1.25%, right? So if we get rid of property taxes and state income taxes and we rewrite the code for a county income tax of 3%, now you guys get to join the table. You guys get to come to the conversation. Renters and homeowners will now pay the 3% county income tax, and the revenue will be more than what just the homeowners are paying, because now you have more people contributing at a lower tax rate than the state income tax, the 3%. The kicker is, right now when your property taxes and your state income taxes are collected, they come to the county. And then the county keeps like 80% of it. 20% goes to Lansing for education. Is Lansing spending it on education? We don't know, do we? There's no accountability in Lansing. The 3% county tax, 100% stays in your county. And it is to go to your fire, to your police, to your schools, to your libraries, your parks and rec, your public transportation. Everybody in the community is now contributing, and this brings back what we all want, local control. It gives the people a powerful voice as to what happens in your community. Right here in Marquette County, you would have a voice if you want solar panels put up out here, if you want wind turbines put up out here, if you want a manufacturing plant or a semiconductor plant or the Chinese, you would have a choice, a vote. Not the people in Lansing who don't even come up here. When was the last time Tom Leonard came to Marquette outside of campaigning for governor?
Never. I don't think.
Mike Cox, Eric Nesbitt, John James. Do they ever just come up here to just come up here?
No.
I was here 3 times last year for my kids, to show my kids how beautiful it is up here. You can't do it all in one day. If you want to represent the people of the state, you got to give the people of the state the power. The government was always intended from, for, and by the people, right? So who works for who? They work for us, right? The government works for the people. Why are they telling us what to do, how much taxes we have to pay, and if we don't, they try to arrest us, put us in jail, or put liens against our homes? I don't want to contribute to the homeless population of Michigan. So part of my 3% county tax, if you're an independent employee, 1099, and you don't pay your 3%, we're going to put a lien on your home. So when you sell it, the county gets their money first, and then you get what's left. We're not putting you on the street. We want you to live in your home. If you had a farm and you passed it down to your son or daughter after you passed away, they take on that debt twice a year, every year, and so on and so on and so on. You never own the land. With that, we have a thing called eminent domain that exists. If the government wants to buy your land and you say no, they can invoke eminent domain and take your land from you, bulldoze your house down, and put up solar panels. If we stop that and we have true ownership, you have the last say. They can't just come on your property. We're protecting your American dream to own your own property. That's why I say, let's be open-minded. Let's think outside of status quo, because status quo is not helping any of us. I'm sure you guys that have Social Security are being taxed on that. If you have investments or retirement income, you're being taxed on that. By the law, Social Security is not income. It should not be taxed again. It was taxed the first time when it came out of your check many years ago. If we don't kick you out on the street and take your home, you get to salvage your credit. So when you sell your home, you can go buy another home with the profit that you made off your home that you just sold. Does anybody think of the consequences of having their home foreclosed on by the government? Your credit drops and you're back in an apartment or a townhome that you have to rent unless you have the cash to buy another house outright. Not everybody's in that situation. So as an average guy, a truck driver, a Harley enthusiast, a dad, a baseball coach, the only candidate in Michigan with a beard, I'm telling you, I am one of you. Always have been. The state of Michigan has been asking for a new face, a new name, a new ideology. And I'm standing here before you today with that ideology. Property taxes is a big one, and yes, we can get rid of it and still fund the essential services. How many of you have read the state's constitution? Is the fire department listed in the state's constitution as an essential service?
No.
It is not. Why? Because the fire department was a volunteer service when it was created, right?
But that's something the Constitution was written on. That's the odd aspect.
Yeah, it's the odd aspect. But if we believe in the Constitution, and you guys got Trump everywhere, I know you do, we're not supposed to pay for the fire department with the collateral of our home. States like Tennessee have an insurance program that the fire department sells, $350 a year. You pay that, you become a member of the fire department, your household. If your house burns, they bill your homeowner's insurance, and whatever's left, you get a 68% discount on the remaining part of the bill. If you're not part of the fire department, you pay 100% of what the homeowner's insurance does not cover. Every year, your property taxes go up. Every year, your homeowner's insurance goes up because they find a way to assess our land and raise up the value. Can you imagine what you would do with more money in your pocket? How do we replace the additional funding? Well, we have a 6% sales tax, correct? Can you imagine the revenue spike that we will see on 6% when conservatives go out and remodel their home? Buy another car, buy a boat, buy a motorcycle, build a pole barn, remodel your kitchen or your bedroom, your bathroom. Every time you buy something for that home or for your own life, The sales tax is still 6%, but we're bringing in more money. We see a huge spike. The Canadian waste that's coming into Michigan. It's 37 cents a tipping ton. It needs to be $50 a ton. Based on the tonnage that we brought in last year, that's a $375 million increase to the state. The state doesn't need the county's money because the county's keeping that money, so the state gets that $375 million. Which leads me to my other proposal. Does anybody like your no-fault car insurance?
Absolutely not.
How long have you lived in Michigan?
All my life.
So you remember in 1976, we switched from an at-fault insurance state to a no-fault insurance state. And here we are.
Only one in the nation.
The only one in the nation at the time. And I was born in 76. So I can tell you, 49 years ago, we had good cheap insurance. Now we're the highest insurance state in the country by 88%. 88%. At-fault insurance says if you hit me and you get the ticket, your insurance pays to repair my car, your insurance pays my medical bills, and your insurance goes up. Mine stays where it is. Next time you get in your car, you're probably going to slow down a little bit because it gets expensive. We don't follow the speed limit. We don't follow driving laws in the state of Michigan, and we don't have enough officers on the street to pull everybody over and hold them accountable. How many people are barely underneath that limit of having car insurance? At-fault insurance is 47% cheaper than no-fault. How many more people will have insurance in the state of Michigan? I want to get rid of the annual auto registrations. Go back to what we used to do in the early 50s. Nothing changes on your tag. Why are you paying it every year? Anybody actually know what's on your registration? Your name, your address, the name of your insurance company. That's it. If you buy a car and you buy your tag, when you buy a car, the first thing you pay for is your tag, title, and license. That should be the end of it. If you move or change insurance companies, you should pay $20, $25 to renew it, to update it. We'd all be happier paying $25 once every 4 or 5 years, right? My goals are to put your money back in your pocket. No property taxes. I'm not picking, I just like looking at you. I'm not picking on you. No property taxes tells the rest of the United States that Michigan is open for business. Bring your factories, bring your mom and pop shops, bring your family restaurants, your diners, your car washes, bring them to Michigan and turn your tax debt into a profit. And what comes with those companies? Jobs. The people that have left Michigan would probably come home to Michigan because they're not paying the property tax or the state income tax, which are two of the reasons they left in the first place.
So no corporate income tax either?
No. Because that is their welfare. That is their corporate welfare, is not paying the property tax. Why do we want to incentivize a business to come here and tell them you don't have to pay the taxes, but you do because you live here? We're not a socialist country. We have to get back to the brass tacks of reality and understand that we are a constitutional republic that runs on capitalism. We agree?
Yes, absolutely.
So why are we letting our government tell us in this room that we have to pay for certain things that we don't use? When was the last time you were on a public bus?
What, 25 years ago?
And you've been paying on it for 25 years. We have these things in Michigan called consumption taxes. Gas tax, marijuana tax, gambling tax, the lottery tax, alcohol and tobacco tax. You buy it, you pay the tax on it, right? If you need the public bus, why aren't you paying to get on the public bus? Why do I have to pay for someone out there to get on a bus? Their life situation is not my responsibility. And that's what these property taxes are. They make us responsible for them to take advantage of all these things. Yes, ma'am.
Now, even if the Republicans would go along with this, you'll never get the Democrats to go along with this.
If you do your part in 26, we won't need the Democrats. We need a 2/3 vote in the House and the Senate. If we win the Senate, retain the House, and have a good governor candidate that's bold enough to face them head on, we'll get our 2/3 vote.
Are you going to the leadership conference at Mackinac Island?
I'm gonna try. I'm a truck driver.
Yeah,
That's $3,000 for 2 nights in a hotel.
right.
They're thinking about having a debate with all us candidates. If we do that, I will drive up, take the ferry over, do the debate, answer questions, and then go back home. I'm not wasting my campaign dollars that people have given me to be luxurious on that island. I'm glad you brought that up, because in July we did our first campaign finance report, right? We did our first campaign finance report July 25th. Everyone in this race has turned in $2.5 to $3.9 million. I turned in 12,000. Damn, Tony, what are you going to do for $12,000? 31 counties, 37 speeches, 4 Lincoln Day dinners, guest speaking events, 1 Reagan dinner, 7 parades, and 14,000 miles in my truck on 10 grand. Can John James do that on 10 grand?
I don't think so.
Could any of them do it for 10 grand? Ask my cameraman Jason where we stayed last night in Garden, Michigan.
In the truck.
No.
Well,
Close.
the old Garden Christian retreat down there.
Good.
Walk into a room that's about as big as this podium. You got 1 bed this way, 1 bed that way, and an iPad for a TV.
Been there.
Do you know what it's
I
like?
know it's like, yeah.
$62. After driving 7 hours, we stayed in a place for $62 where we had 1 bathroom on our floor and we had to share it with whoever else was up there. It's like being in college.
Yeah, it is like a college trip.
There have been nights I've slept in the back of my truck. There have been road trips where I have packed enough sandwiches so I don't have to eat at a restaurant. Because your tax dollars mean a lot to me. Your donations mean a lot to me.
Tell them how many donors you had versus the other guys too.
I had more donors than anybody in the state. More donors. We sold $6,000 in merchandise, hats, t-shirts, flags, coffee cups, whatever. We ran a $1 campaign and I had over 4,000 people donate at least $1 or more. I had a total of 5,600 donors to get me $12,000 in the first 5 months.
Oh, but, I mean, this sounds so good. I mean, I love it. But the people in power are not going to give it up because that's where they make their living.
But they work for you.
No.
Yeah, they do.
No.
They just need, I need to take the belt off and bend them over the table and give them a whooping. That's what they need.
Well, it's the truth.
Your vote outnumbers theirs 1,000 to 1 in the state of Michigan. Whatever the establishment and the rhinos want to do, and we know they exist. I'm not going to call them out today, but we know they exist. They're going to pull money and votes from Lansing. About 3,000 people. They're going to secure that. There are over 1.3 million Michiganders that vote in the primaries. We're targeting 800,000 of them. And of the 800,000, most of them are truck drivers, electricians, motorcyclists, construction workers, hardworking people. We had a Dem yesterday sign my petition and donate $100 to my campaign. A Democrat.
Outspoken, blue-haired.
Because they believe keeping their money is in their best interest.
Facts.
What is that? That's generational wealth, when you can buy a house or a business and pass it on to your kid. That doesn't exist in Michigan right now. It's almost like our state is dying. I'm going to eliminate certain departments in government because under Snyder, the big, what did he say, big kid, he's just a big dumb nerd or something? Is that what he ran on? Something like that?
Yeah.
Our budget was $52 billion, and that was the highest it's ever been in the history of Michigan. But we had a $9 billion surplus, a savings account. Whitmer takes over, the surplus is gone, and our budget is $84.5 billion.
And she's also spent another $9 billion of COVID
Yep.
money, et cetera.
Yep,
On top
she
of
sure
that.
has. And now she wants to implement a tax by mile plan to tax you per mile that you drive in your car, as if we don't pay enough taxes anyway. It's to fix the damn roads. You had the money. So let me lay this out to you, how we got rid of the property tax, we got rid of the state income tax, and we're gonna put $20 billion towards our roads, and we're gonna fix the roads in Michigan in 9 years, a year after I'm gone. MDOT, $8.1 billion just to have it. 38% is administrative, and they don't even go to the office. You take $8.1 billion and you give it to 83 counties, it's $97 million per county to start working on their county roads, city roads, and township roads.
And having local crews do it, don't forget that.
Immediately. 4.5 billion in corporate welfare, that's what we spent last year.
Right.
You take the 4.5 billion, the 3.1 billion we spent on illegal aliens in this state, and then you add the 5.6 billion for this year for the roads. Add it all up, it's $20 billion. Why are solar panels reducing our farmland and wind turbines taking up our farmland, yet we're broke? We have the money, folks. We're just not sending it to the right place. Getting rid of departments like Eagle, tied behind 93% of the Chinese projects in the state of Michigan. That's not doing their job. Getting rid of MDOT, getting rid of Eagle, getting rid of the NRC. We're saving money. We're allocating those funds to where they actually need to go. Our education system, do you know we have over 600 school districts in the state of Michigan? 600. What if we had 83 school districts? What if we had Marquette County School District, Genesee County School District? You're getting rid of the bureaucracy and you're getting rid of the overpaid administrators, and you take that money from their salaries and invest it right back in schools. We're not raising taxes to pay for it. We're using money we already have for it.
You don't know Marquette School. Marquette City would run the county, you're saying? Like 80, each county has one school district, and I don't want Marquette City running any schools.
Well, with change comes overhaul. You can't just say, hey, here you go, here's the keys to your schools. You have to have a plan in motion. You have to make sure that they're going to do it the right way, and that starts at the governor's office, making sure that we have the right curriculum being taught in our schools and the right people in place to make sure that the schools are successful. Yes, sir.
They already have that in the UP, and one, actually Gladstone and Rapid River schools. It's only 2 schools under one superintendent, but that rule of thought works. You have to wash out the garbage.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not calling out the rhinos, you need to call out
clean it up.
the dictators and
Right.
you know. Yeah.
It's
easy to be an administrator making $150,000 and having the best pension and the best health care and the best of everything.
Yep.
Yeah, you want to be Nagani, you want to be Ishpeming, you want to be Westwood, you want to be Marquette. Yeah, but if you made even just a small group to do Marquette County
What
and
did
ran
that
it.
man in the poster go through last year? Hell. You don't need shackles for slavery when you have a weaponized system against you. They almost shot him in the head. They almost shot him on the golf course. They've been going after him. And he stood up and did what? Fight. If you're not willing to fight, and I'm a man of truth, you decide how you want to take it. If you don't want to stand up and fight now, then fall back in line and become sheep. We are shepherds. Freedom is the ability to think, act, say, and do as you wish without the feeling of enslavement. Overtaxation is enslavement. Asking the state to do something is enslavement. The state telling you to do something is enslavement. What's the old saying? When the people fear the government, it's...
When the government is feared, there's tyranny. When the people are feared, there's liberty.
Does that make sense? So in my eyes, it's time that the tree of liberty be watered with the blood of tyrants. It's time to be free. It's time to think outside of status quo, because status quo has made all of them wealthy. And with wealth comes power. And Spider-Man, great deal of responsibility, right? With power comes great deal of responsibility. I'm asking to be a servant to the people of Michigan, not a leader. To hear your concerns, to hear your voice, to put together a blueprint that will make this state successful again, that people want to come here. Our education funding increased 17% this year, and we lost 15% of our students last year. And our kids still read 2 grade levels below. When we talk about education reform, we talk about reading, writing, cursive, bring back cursive writing, bring the trade schools back to our high schools, bring back internships to the high school level, start giving trade credits in high school, so if they want to go to a school afterward, they've already got some credits towards it. We do it for college, we don't do it for trades. Electrical, wood shop, automotive, welding. Not everybody wants to go to college, not everybody can go to college. Entrepreneurship is one of the American dreams. And we can teach that at the high school level for those who want to partake and go to a trade. I've been a truck driver for 21 years. That's my trade. And I never regretted a moment of it, because I provided a service to people all over the country so that you can buy your blouse, so you can buy your shoes, so you can buy your groceries. Your AF1's over there. I saw them on your feet. I got the same thing right there, buddy.
I got those in Florida, actually. But yes, you're right.
Yeah? And next time you don't have to dress up to come see me, my friend.
Oh, okay. I dress up too.
What I propose that the other candidates don't propose is a fighting attitude and a chip on my shoulder. Where are the men that stood up over a 2% increase on tea in the Boston Harbor?
Right.
What happened then? Started a revolution, and what did we do? We succeeded. Now we're complacent.
We fought the largest army in the world and the largest navy.
And we won. It's funny how we're an independent nation, but we rely on every country in the world for our existence. That man back there wants to get back to made in the USA. If you don't like tariffs, don't buy something made in China. Buy made in the USA. It's about pride, not profit. Quality. And the tariffs are going to work. I know we've seen the spike, but if you remember correctly, in 2016 he brought in tariffs. The economy went up, and then it shot down, and we had the cheapest gas we've seen in decades. Groceries were less expensive. Clothes were less expensive. It worked. But you have to stand up and fight. And for those of you who don't have the physical power to fight, pen to paper. Anthony Hudson, I will make a change for Michigan. No, you're fine, go ahead.
Okay. Has Trump said anything about this issue?
Which issue?
Well, the issue of not having property taxes.
He has. He recently said that he was going to eliminate them for the elderly over the age of 65. And now Texas recently voted to do just that. And I think they're trying to reduce it to a phase-out elimination of property taxes altogether. Texas is its own country. I know. I was born there. I spent most of my life there.
2 days ago, Marjorie Taylor Greene was doing it for the whole nation, the property
That's
tax.
another thing. So, I mean, this movement is spreading across the country. I was the first gubernatorial candidate to bring this up. Vivek Ramaswamy followed in February. And then Ron DeSantis started a couple months ago. Now Abbott in Texas is doing something about it. And I think you give the credit to Carla because she promoted Act My Tax, but the way Carla wants to recoup the funds, I don't agree with. I signed the petition, but I don't agree with how she wants to recoup the funds. And I don't agree with the ideology of replacing the money either. If we have $30 billion of bad money, we don't raise another $30 billion of clean money so they can dirty it up again, and we're still at $84 billion. If Gretchen Whitmer signs these next 2 tax laws into place, we will be at $100 billion by the time she leaves. $100 billion. Georgia is our twin. Georgia has a little bit more land mass than Michigan. They have over 300,000 more population than Michigan. They share almost the same amount of I-75, and they have the same automotive, industrial, steel, and manufacturing. You know what their budget is for this year?
Right.
$41 billion. and they are bigger than us in 9 out of 10 categories. Does that tell you where your money's going?
Tony, one of the things that I do like about the Axe My Tax and no property taxes is how property taxes have been abused in the state of Michigan. Most people do not know that when variations of local governments, city governments, county governments, and also state government, if you have not paid your taxes and they seize your home, they sell your home and they keep the total amount. They have done that for decades.
But they're not supposed to.
At all.
Now they are somewhat not supposed to, because there has been a Supreme Court ruling on a national level that the government could not keep that money. They can only keep the money that the taxes were due.
Yep, and you're supposed to get the rest.
In Michigan, we've got 80 counties, and the last figure I saw, 50 counties still had not given the money back to the homeowners that they were supposed to get back.
Right.
This is one of the aspects that I always think about is the greed of government quite often. That's one thing that I do have to say that really bothers me, is taking people's homes.
That's right. And that's why my 3%, it comes with a lien if you don't pay. Not putting you out on the street. And it's written that way because the lien is supposed to only be against the back taxes that you owe. If you have a $100,000 home and you owe $10,000 in taxes, you're going to get a check from yourself for 90 grand. That's the way it's supposed to be. They take the tax debt and you get the rest. But Michigan's not doing it. Michigan also has 87,000 families that are scheduled to be foreclosed on in the next 24 months. 87,000. We can't even get our veterans off the street. We're going to add to that population because someone has paid off their mortgage and they were in a car accident last year and they can't work. Social Security's not enough, disability's not enough, so now they can't afford that tax. The reality is you can have a $300,000 home, you can pay it off in 30 years, you can be in an accident, and in 2 years of non-payment, you can lose every bit of it. But if you don't have to worry about the property tax, all you've got is a 3% county tax, that comes out of your paycheck, out of your income. After we hold government accountable to Social Security not being income, because it's not, those who are on Social Security aren't contributing. But the mass part of the county is now paying, and they're paying less by 1.25% plus the property tax. That's what their savings are.
Tony, when we talked on the phone, I mentioned about, you mentioned you're going to be in the Garden Peninsula, and I asked you to ask some of the people in the Garden Peninsula about their windmills. How did that go?
They didn't like it. First thing we saw when we were going down 2 and got to Manistee, and we hung the left and started going down that peninsula toward Garden. And about 4 miles from the town, I started noticing. I mean, and he sees it. I mean, I rode my Harley to Caseville, Michigan for the Cheeseburger Festival 2 weeks ago. And riding over the farm hills, right? I went up one hill and all of a sudden there's thousands of windmills. And he got a picture of me flipping off the windmills as I rode by on my Harley.
A California howdy.
When we came into the outskirts of Garden, the first windmill he saw up at the very top was about 10 feet of black. Looked like it had been on fire.
That's what I thought.
And I told him, no, that's oil. The one thing they want to get away from is oil, but they put something in the ground that needs oil, right? We went into town, and everyone I talked to yesterday opposes it. It's a family, 2 brothers. Dad left them all this trust money and land. They went out and bought up almost 2,000 acres, and one brother got the farmland, the other brother got a business. The farmland they don't get along. So the farmland guy said, I'm going to increase my wealth and put up over 100 wind turbines on the property at $10,000 a piece. I have a video this morning. It's kind of going viral right now. We drove out to the base of a windmill. There were 2 cranes sitting there, and there were some workers out there. We drove right up to them and talked to them. $50,000 a day per crane to just sit there.
2 of them.
2 of them. That's $100 grand. The salaries, for the people that are out there working, and there was maybe what, 6, 7?
Something like that. 8 tops.
15,000 a day. And all they're doing is changing out a gear in the blade.
And they're not from Michigan.
Where is this money coming from? Better yet, where's the energy going? Those fields, Kentucky. We're paying for it to go to our grid with DTE, and Kentucky is buying it. Every last bit of it. Sheboygan wants to put up 800 acres of solar panels, and it's already sold to Chicago. That's our farmland. And we don't reap anything from it. So what used to be our farmland in Michigan, it's doing this every day. What do you think happens when it's all gone? We have to import our food from other states and or other countries. And if it comes from another country, we pay the tariff.
Not only that, but we can't use that land. That
You
the
can't.
windmills and the.
It's
solar
contaminated.
panels.
And they say, oh, it's just one windmill. And the guy told me they're 52 feet in diameter at the base. They're hollow on the inside. Just cabling that comes down, goes to a generator, and then it sends it to the grid. He said, it's just 52 feet. It's 52 feet by 100 wind turbines. Do the math. How many feet are in an acre?
Plus over 50 gallons of
Losing
oil
an acre of land,
per thing.
of farmland. And then like Jason just said, they average, they compute 50 gallons of oil wasted the moment they disconnect that blade from the turbine. And DTE has to deal with that, the biohazard and the cleanup, and they have to replace the oil.
But does the oil sometimes get down on the ground?
Of course.
It looked like it in the top where it was coming down. It looked like it was coming down about 10 feet, and it was a massive amount of oil. But that doesn't mean that they didn't go out and try to wipe it off and clean it to give the perception that it stopped right there. I don't trust any of these people. I don't. The DNR is taking our land, our state land, and they're putting up solar panels, and they're killing our animals. They're committing deforestation. They're contaminating our water. How's that supposed to help the people? And then on a nice sunny day, you look up in the sky, and I don't know if you believe in it or not, but the chemtrails, the contrails, whatever you want to call them,
Cloud seeding.
there's even people downstate saying the ice storm a few months back was created by us.
And we've
By
had
humans.
ice storms before, going back centuries.
Yeah, and I've lived through a couple of them here in Michigan, but they said that particular one, the way it started over Lake Michigan, it was designed to hit Michigan and stay there and not move. But that's just what people say. There's so many conspiracies out there, but
Well, DARPA openly admits on their website to manipulation now. They don't say they control it, but they say they manipulate it. So let's get real.
We had 2 hearings up here over basically solar farms and windmills. And we had one here in Marquette, one down in Escanaba. Down in Escanaba, because of our long winters, one of our major crops up here is potatoes.
right.
And so a potato farmer got up and said, he had received a letter. His major customer was Frito-Lay. And he had received a letter from Frito-Lay saying that if he put solar panels on his land, they could no longer buy from him because the solar panels shed cadmium into the land and makes the land unusable as agricultural. It gets into the potatoes or anything else that's growing.
And you told me that on the phone, and I did some research on it. You're 100% correct. I even know the name of the farmer.
Okay.
We have to protect the land. Instead of having corporate welfare, instead of having the majority of Michigan on welfare as it is, we need to entice these people to take these jobs one way or the other. Trump had a great idea that said, we want a work initiative for anybody that's on unemployment. You go volunteer for 20 hours or work for 20 hours and we'll get the subsidy, you'll get the difference. So if your maximum benefit is $500 and you work 20 hours and make $250, you would get $250 from the state. That frees up $250 and so on and so on and so on for all the millions of people that are on welfare in the state of Michigan. I think they should be forced to go back to work. The people on welfare, you know why they want the illegal aliens so bad?
Right.
Because they're too lazy to go out and do the work themselves, and they'd rather pay somebody $5 an hour under the table to be out in the sun picking apples off an apple tree. What's wrong with America? We're supposed to be proud. We're supposed to be hardworking. Those men and women at Pearl Harbor were patriots. Where did that go? I remember drinking water out of a water hose, swinging on a tire swing, swimming in a dirty, muddy river. Hell, my first car was a Mach 1 Mustang, and I tried to jump it across the Brazos River in Austin, didn't make it. Sunk my car to the bottom of the river. Dukes of Hazzard was a big show back then. Now we can't get our kids out of their bedrooms and off their video games. Kids don't know how to make fires. They don't know how to pitch a tent. They don't know how to be self-sufficient. We can teach those things back in school. There's so much Michigan can do. And I urge you guys to grab one of my cards before you leave tonight. It has my website on it. I have 18 policies that we have already started working on. 18! Go to John James's website. He may have 3. Last time I looked at Aaron Nesbitt, he had 1. Mike Cox had 1. Tom Leonard didn't even have a website. He may have 1 now. I have 18, and they've been there since February. We are trying to motivate you guys. You won that election for that man in November of last year. Now the Republican Party has to put a good team on the field in this gubernatorial race, and we have to stand up and fight for it. But it doesn't end there. It's got to be the right candidate, folks. If you don't want to vote for me because you don't think I'm the right candidate, I respect you 100%. But don't look at me as a man or with a beard or a Harley or a truck. Find the candidate that's going to beat the hell out of the Democrat candidate. Find the candidate that will go toe-to-toe with Mike Duggan and not back down. Don't vote for a yes man. Vote for a fighter. Because that's what you need in Lansing. I would not want to cross toes with you. You're bigger than me. But I wouldn't back down. Cowards back down. And I think most of the people wearing a suit and tie in Lansing are just that. They've been bought, they've been paid for, they've been told to push a certain agenda. And the only thing left out of that agenda is you. I'm not doing this for fortune or fame. $12,000 is not fortune. It's not. Sleeping on an air mattress in a truck is not fortune. I'm doing this for you. For your kids, your grandkids. For you just coming out of high school. Maybe you're going into retirement soon. I'm doing this for the people of Michigan. And you know, I refer to us as Michiganians. You guys know that was the original word for Michigan?
It's actually an Ojibwa word.
It's a who?
An Ojibwa.
Indian.
Oh, yeah. It goes way back in time, and people always thought we're Michiganders. No, we're Michiganians. And when I say it on social media, you get some people go, I don't know who you're talking about, I'm a Michigander. No, you're not, you're Michiganian. and people do like it. People like the fact that I hold people accountable, and I do present facts when I talk to those. And, you know, I'm a straight shooter.
Do you have any support from the legislators? People who
A few.
in the legislature
A few.
now. Do you have any names?
Mr. Bolina,
where is
he's a state senator down near Hillsdale.
Okay.
DePerno. I like DePerno a little bit, and DeSena and I have the same ideologies about going after our red flag gun laws, because they are every bit of an infringement on our Second Amendment rights. And he's fighting, true story, look it up, please. He's fighting the Republicans to put that bill on the floor. And the Republicans are saying no. The Second Amendment, does anybody know it by heart besides Jason? A well-regulated militia for the security of a free state, that the people shall have the right to bear and keep arms with no infringement. There's no subclause that says, except for this red flag law, except for this red flag law, except for this. It's stated, no infringements, and we need to get back to that. Michigan is a constitutional carry state, if you didn't know that. The Constitution affords you that right. It's our government that's taken that right away from you. And they put that collar around our necks and said, hey, you're going to do it our way. Come on. And they lead us down the path. We want to fight that. We want it to be written that Michigan is a constitutional carry state. Jason brings up a great point. We had an active shooter at Mott College yesterday in Genesee County. There was another one today at Valparaiso, I think. And these gun-free zones are the reason we have these shooters. Because if I'm going to be mentally disabled, or mentally screwed up, and I want to shoot people, I'll go to the one area where nobody else has a gun. And you have casualties and you have victims.
How many mass shootings were at a gun store or a military base? I'll wait.
Well, unfortunately, the military bases, they
Yeah.
have.
They get ended real quick.
Well,
Except for that one where they went on the Pogue section of the Army base, and I think that was an inside job. There was an active shooter when I was in the Marines. He pulled up on base, and he got to basically get about 10, 15 feet from his vehicle, and he was dropped. Well, that was a grunt base, too.
my understanding is many of the many bases, it's against
fire.
rules for them to carry.
In the personnel other than grunt sections, absolutely correct.
People ask me all the time, why are people in Texas so nice? Why is the hospitality so nice in Texas?
Yep.
You better be nice.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a gun.
An armed society is a polite society, correct?
You don't know who's got a gun because it's a constitutional concealed carry state. You don't know, so just be nice. You guys go to Texas for a week and come back up here, not only will you have gained weight, but you'll show a deep respect for what Southern hospitality really is. And they say don't mess with Texas for that reason. Can you imagine how safe we would be if we had the ability to protect our citizens? What are we going to do? We're going to call 911 and wait for 11 minutes? By then, how many people can be shot?
All right.
And case in point, Indianapolis, 3 years ago, a shooter opened fire at a mall. And it was a civilian that was carrying a pistol that neutralized the target and saved hundreds of lives.
Yep.
And it happened after somebody in the mall called 911.
Police are minutes away, your pistol's
If you don't
seconds.
like guns, don't buy one. We don't have a gun problem. We have a mental health problem.
Right.
I can take a 45 and set it right here, and I've been looking at you a lot, but I'm going to turn to you, and I can set it right here, cocked and loaded, walk away from it, and guess what? It'll never work! It needs the human element to pull the trigger. So we need to stop looking at the idiocracy that's coming out of Lansing and the rules that they're putting on us and remember that we are free. And I say this quite often, in the land of the free, I will be free. The question is, do you? Because if you do, help me win this thing and send a statement to Lansing. A truck driver becomes governor in Michigan. Can you imagine the headlines all across the country? Can you imagine when the property taxes are eliminated and you can save money and still have peace of mind knowing that your essential services are being paid?
And did it on like
Status
a
quo was just the way
$50,000
somebody else wrote it. And we fell into it. And we've taught our whole lives that that's how it's supposed to be. But the generation before you, just like you can say, we didn't pay no-fault insurance in 1975. Somebody wrote it, passed it, and it became that Michigan is an at-fault state, or a no-fault state.
Our insurance laws are pretty well written by the insurance companies and their lobbyists.
Right.
So for many years, we had this fund for this medical fund, and that the insurance companies handled, but they could never be audited.
Oh.
That's just great.
I'm glad you.
I never knew that.
Up because since February, this truck driver wrote his first bill. And I'm proud of it. I pat myself on the back all the time. I grew up in Texas in a mobile home, playing baseball, high school football in the state of Texas, 20,000 people in the stands. Amazing. And to this day, the biggest accomplishment is I wrote a bill. And it's called the Zero Tolerance Spending Bill. And what this bill allows me to do is audit every facet of government in the state of Michigan, from the city to the township to the county to the state, quarterly, and post the results publicly so you can see where your gas tax is, where your lottery tax is, where your pot for potholes money is. We need transparency. We need to know where that's going. And right now, Jocelyn Benson's committed finance fraud, campaign finance. She broke the finance laws, right? And Speaker Hall is trying to hold her accountable for that. Why do we as candidates have to keep up with every single penny and show the receipt, but our own government can't tell us where that penny went? Seems backwards, right?
I heard at one point in time in place that the Michigan, the number of pages in the Michigan budget is something like almost 1,000 pages.
Yeah. And what it should be is every line item needs to go before the floor one at a time. And it needs to be handled, voted on, and approved one at a time. I guarantee you'll see a lot less pages. There's not 1,000 days, well, there might be 1,000 days in a 4-year term. And they don't want to spend all day, every day going over a budget. Recently, I talked about our voter fraud, our dead voting from the grave. We agree that's a problem here, right?
It is terrible.
So I was south of Onaway. Jason and I pulled into a cemetery. This is good. Nesbitt wouldn't do this. Nobody would do this but me. And I said, I'm here at Northern Michigan's voter headquarters, where people are dying to get in here. And when I was a kid, I was taught that when you die, you're laid to rest. But not in Michigan. In Michigan politics, when you die, you come back and vote Democrat. And that's a problem. So I've created a department that I want to replace one of the ones I'm eliminating. We all know what Doge is, right? We all agree that we need Doge Michigan.
Yeah.
I want a MyDove department, DOVE, a Michigan Department of Voter Efficiency. My goal is to pull the elections out of the Secretary of State's hands, put it in a bipartisan office, equal number Democrats, equal number Republicans. Every year, every time we get a new Secretary of State, the elections become whatever that Secretary of State is. A Democrat, or Benson, or Republican, whoever. It's a partisan office. You want to fix the elections? Take it out of their hands. Go through the voter roll. Get rid of the illegal aliens that are on that roll. Get rid of those who have passed away on that roll. Get rid of those who have moved out of the state off that roll.
And prosecute for voter fraud. Don't let them get away with it.
By the way, the Secretary of State, I was just thinking about this. The Secretary of State knows that I am a citizen because they have my birth certificate records when I signed up many, many years ago for driver's license. So they know, they can verify very definitely that I am a citizen. Why can't they put that on my license?
Well, I'm glad you said that because that's part of the MyDove office is to take your voter registration and put it on the barcode on the back of your ID. We want to get rid of the Dominion machine, one-day voting, state holiday, vote in person, no more mail-in ballots, no more drop-off spots. You go in, you swipe your ID, all your information shows up. You're a Michigan resident, U.S. citizen, here's your voter information. It's all right there. Give you a ballot, go vote. I don't know what it was like here in the 90s, but in Texas I'd stand outside the courthouse for 3 hours to vote. And we didn't have the problems we have today. Anything connected to the internet can be manipulated. The software can be manipulated. They can adjust the line. So, like in 2020, vote Trump, but it comes out Biden. Go back to the paper ballots. Go back to hand counting. Make it a one-day election, start at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, end at 8, have your winner by midnight. It's not that difficult. If you got 4 Republicans at the booth, you got 4 Democrats at the booth. That's the other responsibility for Dove. If there's more Democrats than Republicans, the Democrats got to go. If they don't want to go out on their own, they'll be forced out. We have to secure the elections in Michigan. And as long as it's sitting in that Secretary of State's office, what we're seeing with Benson will always be a possibility.
It's also at the county level and the city level.
It's all got to be cleaned up. And I think an oversight committee with the right guidance and discretion can go in and can clean it up. I mean, the hat says fix Michigan because that's the purpose. And I can sit here all day. And so could you. You know what's wrong with this state. I'm tired of men in suits telling me that 1 thing's wrong, 2 things wrong, 3 things wrong, and that's it. We have a buffet of problems. And
As Jocelyn Benson's office.
so when we get rid of MDOT, we'll take their administrators and we'll train them how to go through the voter roll, and we'll be more efficient with that. You know, they only go through it like every 3 to 5 years. Somebody died today. You think they're going to be off the voter roll tomorrow? They should be able to go through that voter roll as soon as a death certificate is submitted to the state. It should be updated with the election committee so that they can remove them from the roll. It's that easy.
Our clerk told us that when a snowbird dies in Florida, how are we supposed to know? That's why we have people from 1900 still
That's
on
an
our voter
excuse.
rolls.
Right.
That's an excuse. No excuses. You know, I'm a big fan of the University of Texas football because I'm from Austin. And their motto is all gas, no brakes. We need to have no excuses. We need to be all gas, no excuses. And we have to meet them head on.
Then you come to the clerk's office with
Let's
me
do it.
and you
I will. I do all the time.
and you say, that's an excuse.
Don't
When you
think I
say
won't. There are plenty of
can't get
videos
rid
of me
them.
standing up to Whitmer's office.
Yep.
Mundy Township. You guys know about the semiconductor plant in Mundy Township?
Where they're
4,500 people voted no. 5 people on the 7 board panel voted yes, and they pushed it through. A month ago, they got an earful for me in front of the whole town. It went almost 100,000 views on his TikTok account. It had over 130,000 on my Facebook account. I mean, it blew up.
You're on TikTok?
We are. We both are. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. It's less free now that the
I
U.S.
took a
government controls it.
Facebook political page that was
Facts.
getting about 2,000 views a month in January.